it's going well. So shall we start? Okay, so Zotero actually is a reference management system. Okay, by references actually we mean something very important for usually for papers. You may notice, like in the research methods course, for example, for my students, when I explain how to read, I tell them absolutely that easy readings are less impactful. So absolutely we all start from Wikipedia and so on and so forth, blogs, posts, maybe we follow certain experts on Twitter and so on, but it's just for to keep up with the pace of knowledge expansion, and it's not to refer to a reliable piece of information. So I'm just recalling this fact for all our master students. Actually, it's really worth it. We should have regular published papers. Please know that they are reviewed by at least 3 different reviewers, usually, so often, who didn't ever work with the same team of researchers. So you will notice later on, inshallah, when we will publish our work, we will get reviews from external auditors, from external experts. They are experts in serious games. They already did some projects like ours, maybe since long time ago, and they will validate our work. And our eventual papers won't be accepted unless they will get a good rank above 3.5 from 5, something like that. So from 3 different reviews. So it's a very rigorous process. And usually they give you, even if it's rejected, they will give you very valuable information. You're gonna enhance your paper and then republish it once again, and so on and so forth. So it's not like referring to someone called Black Eagle having an account on a certain forum who said something about serious game. Yeah, serious games are fun, so we cannot refer to these facts. Okay, we need charts, we need data, and so on. So types of papers, and they usually posters are the less impactful ones. These are usually system descriptions, prototypes done by master students. So we highly encourage you to participate with posters, by the way, in local conferences in your countries. There are some short papers for also system descriptions or seeds of ideas that are not developed, completely developed yet. Conferences articles with around 15 pages, journal articles that are really well expanded in depth and breadth, and that have a bigger size. Then you have also books and handbooks. So just to give you an idea, this is an example of a poster. Like you already have some nice charts, good statistics. You have introduction, conclusion. You have the abstract. You explain the idea very clearly, and you also have references at the end. So this is the first example where I can show you where usually we use references. And the references, they should be written very clearly. Like they are numbered, they are cited within the text. We cannot add a reference that is not cited in the text, and we cannot cite some reference that is not mentioned in the references or bibliography section at the end of the document. So we need both of them. And sometimes actually for a certain fact, let's say serious games have been used in healthcare. So if we put this fact, we may refer to a certain paper talking about that. But maybe later on, we're going to change our mind, especially after the advice of a certain review, to say that that paper, let's say, was not well accepted, or like the work behind it was not strong enough. Please refer to another paper. So we may take their advice into consideration. So if we change the citation inside the text, we should also change it here in the references. And this is really a very tough task, especially when we have a growing number of references, especially for the master thesis document that will reach eventually maybe 100, 150 pages, and you will accumulate around 30 or 40 references over time. So it's really recommended to handle it automatically. This is reason number 1. The reason number 2 is when you collaborate with others, and it becomes really tough, a tough task, especially if you are referring to the same paper, okay, about serious games used in healthcare in the introduction, but then also in the related work part, okay? So if you are writing, like researcher number 1 is writing the introduction, let's say usually the the supervisor who has this like broad knowledge can capture the whole landscape of research in this domain. And then the student is working technically on the related work to cite them in an ordered way to categorize the various works that have been done in the field. So if you are referring to the same paper, you risk ending up with 2 references in the paper. Still, like for 15 pages, if you have 1 week to finish your article before submission, it's fine. But if you are short on time, if you are more than 2 people working on the document, then it's better to have an automated tool that will take care of this part. Just to also very quickly show you examples, like usually conferences papers, they refer to the names of researchers from very known universities. They have publication date within known journals, and you will have always the references paper here. You have the structure of introduction, related work, the core of the idea, the verification of it or the benchmark of it to prove that it really works, and then a conclusion with the future work, and then the references once again. So we have always the references part that pops up here. Okay, so just to show you that it's like we are just following the standard of the research community. If you want our work to be accepted by the research community, we should follow their rules and regulations. So where to find your content, just also maybe a couple of slides that might be useful for you. They will remain in the video. So you have typically scholar.google.com, from which you can start. It's Google, but only for scholarly papers. Okay, so you'll find only usually conference papers, journal papers, books, and so on. Sometimes you will find the PDF directly, and sometimes you have to look it up manually from another source, maybe from the page of the homepage of the researcher himself or herself. Okay, so if they published it locally, but no, they made it available with a draft version, but then the official version, maybe it's copyrighted by the edition company. Okay. By the editor. So you have a couple of other references such as Cite, Infotrack, LexisNexis, and Ebisco. But you can also find a very useful material at archive.org, search.ndltd from Germany, and under the hood, like at least in Lebanon, this works fine. We can access the Genesis library from Russia. They are exposing a lot of sometimes copyright material, but no, they are making it accessible for the students. Just in case, I'm giving this reference to my students so often, just in case the university is not offering access to exhaustively all the famous publishing sites such as IEEE, Elsevier, and so on and so forth. So I needed you to understand these concepts to be able to appreciate what is Zotero doing. So let's switch to Zotero. Actually, Zotero is a reference management tool that is free to use. You can, as you may notice from the website, you can collect, then later on within Word cite correctly, and share your research papers and references with the others. So it does it all. So here is a screenshot of the interface. You can notice that the concept is to have a library. A library is a set of collections, and each collection, you can nest your collections as much as you want. And then within each collection, you can have, for example, in this one, it's called the medicine, the colonial medicine collection. This researcher, it seems that it's one of his most active axis of research. So he accumulated over time a lot of references in this domain, a lot of papers, books, handbooks, and so on. So for each one of them, Zotero will pump automatically from the website all the metadata about the reference. So namely, the journal, the type of the document, whether it's a journal paper or conference, and so on and so forth, because each type of reference, yeah, we are very picky in the research community. Each type of references, we should refer to it in a different way, okay? So there will always be obligatory fields such as the title of the document. You should put it clearly. The name of authors to give them all the credit, and then I would say the publication date is important to give the reader an idea whether this reference is rather from the 60s or from, like, it's quite recent, from 2016 or something like that. The journal also to give a weight for this reference, whether it's a very trustable reference, reliable reference, or a medium level reference, and so on and so forth. Okay, so but usually don't have to care about which fields to include, because Zotero will take care of all these issues according to the norm that you are gonna choose. So to, yes, is a fee. Later on, it's fine, later on. Okay, so I'm gonna just concentrate here. What's nice actually also with, so the first advantage, you will have everything collected in one single place. You can organize them with this tree-like structure. You can have the same paper duplicated in two different places, because the same paper is maybe talking about serious games, is offering a graphic design framework for serious games, but you will also add it to your graphic design project, for instance, if you're doing research on a graphic design in general, not only for serious games. So you can have your references duplicated. Also, they will be taken into consideration. And
I cannot see this attribute part. يعني circulation of medicine belongs to two categories. Where does this show?
it's not shown here. I'm just telling you that it's very flexible. You don't care about these things. Zotero automatically will create a certain ID or unique ID for these papers actually.
But if I want to label the paper that as
You can, absolutely. Besides the default tag that is implicit, the ID that is implicit, and why it is an ID, because Zotero will compose a certain unique ID as iTunes exactly does for your songs on your iPod. Okay, so the same song, if it exists in several different folders, it will be indexed only once and added only once to your iPod. The same concept is happening here. You can go to the Zotero folder in your documents, and you will find that everything is well ordered in subfolders and indexes and hashed and so on and so forth. But Akid, you can annotate your publications to give them more explicit and meaningful tags. Okay, so for example, you say this paper, like this is like, let's say you can tag them with Lilia's papers, okay, or assessment papers. These papers are talking about assessment. Those one are talking about the platform design. That one is talking about the programming part, and so on and so forth. You can also add notes, okay? So you can like open a window and say, well, in this paper, I really like the English in it. I should track this author and see if they are. So you can put whatever comments you are dreaming of. Okay. Akid, sure, sure, sure. Like here, for example, the author added a certain comment here to the left to read, blah, 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 and then, okay, they marked a certain part. If the PDF, as here, the full text PDF, has been also pumped from the internet, you can open it from Zotero, not from your Acrobat Reader, and annotate it using the command tool. All these things, the tags, like already the metadata, the tags that you can add by yourselves, your notes, okay, and all the annotations that you can add within the file, all these are text-based and searchable. So you can find whatever you want. Like, I'm quite sure there is a paper that Nahla sent me about peer assessment. I'm quite sure it's like you can search by year, by tag. Maybe February 2017. It was very early in the project. It was in the summer. It was during Tunisia visit. Okay. So as long as you are tagging everything, so you can easily find it. Okay. And imagine if everyone is doing his part or her part, and we are sharing this in a collective working space on the cloud. This will be really great. Okay. So talking of which, actually, to pump the data, once you install Zotero, at the end of the installation, for Windows, for example, it will ask you, do you want to install myself under your Firefox browser or a Chrome browser or Internet Explorer browser? So for your preferred browser, check the box and say yes. So here, for example, I have it on Chrome as an extension. Okay, it will install itself automatically. And then when I will visit a certain page, for example, I prepared the IEEE page here, and I will look up naively for serious games just in general. Once I will find a certain relevant paper, I will read the abstract and so on and so forth, and then I can click on Zotero just to pump the citation for me, at least, if not the PDF and the whole thing. It will also pump the abstract, everything that is available, and that is for free. So I'm gonna pick up the first one for training social skills in job interviews, let's say. Imagine that this paper is really interesting for me. I'm gonna click on it, and you will notice that the icon of Zotero will change automatically for these specific websites, okay? Because they know the metadata of these websites. They know how to crawl and parse their HTML tags and to extract the useful information about the author, name, the publisher, and so on and so forth. So you notice the icon has changed now, okay, for this research for this search result page, okay, talking about the paper. I can read it diagonally first. If I feel it's really interesting for me, I can pump it on Zotero. If I click and Zotero is not yet open, they will tell me like is Zotero running, because I didn't run it yet. So I'm gonna go to Zotero standalone version, desktop version. I'm gonna launch it. I can select the right collection from my library where I want or would like to have my paper. So for example, I already created this collection. I don't have a big thing in it, but no, it was just for testing purposes. I'm gonna add a sub collection called like general paper, because this paper I don't really know how to classify it. It's like social training on social skills. So I'm not sure for job interviews. I'm gonna put a general section or whatever, or to be read or in the future or less relevant or whatever you want, okay? And then once it's selected, when I will go to the website and click once again on this button, you will notice that Zotero is pumping right now here on the right hand side below the right bottom side in the website. It's saving now all the information of the paper to my local repository. So let us see the result. So if I get back here to the general section, I see that this paper is already pumped with all its metadata. So I have to copy paste nothing. Believe me, in 2007, when these tools didn't exist while writing my PhD thesis, it was a nightmare. Okay, like we spent a lot of time, at least maybe a total of couple of days, non-stop couple of days, so like I would say 72 hours, 36 hours after the whole PhD thesis, you would have spent this time on just organizing, collecting, verifying character by character your references. Imagine if you miswrite the name of a certain author, Finnish author, for example, with a special O character. So, and imagine that he will be your reviewer. He will be really mad at you. So like Zotero will take care of all these things for you. You can double check, you can re-verify, but at least you're a priori in the safe side.
You work offline with Zotero or it connects to database?
No, you have everything locally. You can work offline, but once you want to synchronize with a common repository to share with other colleagues, these papers on a certain collective work or space, then at this time you have to be connected. That's it. And of course, when you want to pump from a certain internet source a paper, absolutely, like you need to be connected, and like this is known when you are doing search, so you are connected on the internet. Yeah, let's can I switch to the sharing part first, or shall I show you how to include a reference very quickly and very easily under Word first? What do you think? So لأنه لحديت هلا just to complete the self study part, okay, for each one of us, and then I'm going to show you the collective part as soon as possible, okay? So also like very quickly, I could duplicate this one. I could add a note, like you have right click, add a note. I could add tags. I can duplicate the item, remove it, manage it. So imagine everything you want is done here. By the way, like I already have a group libraries here to the left, and I have the Sega project here. So I don't have yet papers in it, but I already have the Sega space that I created a couple of months ago. So I have it here. So I'm gonna show you in a few minutes. So
But this is your place.
لا هلا
We cannot use it collaboratively.
this Sega place is collaborative. I didn't include any paper in it, but I just created, and I invited you and Lilia at that moment to start working, collaborating on it. But هلا I'm gonna resend the invitation if necessary, or show you how we can do it. Ideally, we should, like within 30 minutes, do something on Jihad's computer, like invite Jihad or Isra, and get Akid, Akid. I will invite everyone here, and then you will start uploading papers in your own repositories, and then we can share them and have them in real time. Okay. So let me show you how things happen under Word. It's quite easy actually. Please note that Word has its own built-in reference manager, but you have to type everything by hand, okay, in several different fields. Enter the authors, and you have to guess that you have to separate the author names by commas or semicolon, or I don't know what, and then to save the year in this field, to save the editor in that field, and so on and so forth. So while with Zotero, if I'm writing here, as shown in the work of someone, okay, serious games are blah 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 are very useful or excellent. Okay, so I can get back to this place and then go to the Zotero plugin. Actually, if you installed already the Zotero plugin under Windows, before asking you to install the extension under your browser, it will also ask you whether to install the add-in, and absolutely say yes, because it's useless if you don't have the plugin under Windows. So from this additional menu, add-in menu here called Zotero, you can click on the button add or edit citation. So لحظة Lilia, if I click on it, okay, so I have this add-in menu here, like EndNote, like all the other tools, okay, there are plenty of other tools like EndNote and the others. I can put my cursor where I want to refer or cite a certain paper. I can pick up, I have to pick up just at the beginning of the editing of the document this style. Usually we so often refer to the IEEE style that uses numbers between the brackets, and then we'll use these numbers to enumerate the references in the bibliography section at the end. So I'm gonna say yes, keep everything by default, and then I will start typing my paper here. So it was about, my paper was about training social skills, something like that. So even if you don't remember just a few letters or few words in your reference, you can find it very easily. You hit enter, and then you can add other ones as Malano. Sometimes you refer for the same sentence as shown in 1, 4, and 6. This work has been fruitful for these reasons. So once you are, sorry, I had to validate my choice. So I'm gonna just get back once again and hit enter. I missed edit. Sorry. So add, I'm gonna pick up the paper. Okay, and usually with a simple enter without going out and in as I did. So okay, you'll have your reference quite easily. So I can refer to other things just to show you that it usually works very smoothly. So maybe assessment. I have something on assessment in and for of serious games, an overview. Okay, so this is, I think, one of the nice papers. So I can hit enter and then I can continue typing. So this is the first part, but the nice part, absolutely, if I have like at this page my references page, like bibliography, and then I will give it this heading 1 title maybe, and then I'm imagining a master thesis document, and then at the end you can hit insert the bibliography. Okay, this is all that you have to do, and for all your papers, okay, it has been cited according to the IEEE norm that is very rigorous. In certain bibliography format, you have to insert the title first in italic sometimes, then dot, period, then you start with the author names in a certain format. Sometimes you have the full name, sometimes you have a first name, first letter, dot, the last name, and so on and so forth. So you don't have to care about the format. All this is taking care of it for you by Zotero. Okay, so yeah, absolutely. And then we check up the collaborative part. I'm gonna just show you very quickly one of the, يعني, all these fields are automatic fields actually. So مثل ما شايفين they are a grade, so they are automatic, like the page number, they will change automatically. So if I switch these two references, I can hit Control A F9, okay, to update my references. Okay, so they will be updated automatically. Or for example, if I remove the first reference, no problem. I can update my my field and then update, I think, my bibliography. Up. So I can reinsert the bibliography once again. So insert bibliography, and then I will have only this one. Okay. So everything that you didn't cite anymore in your it will be automatically removed, and all the numbers will be automatically managed once again for you. Okay. So this is the most important part. Okay. Just one click at the end of the day, and you will have everything settled for you. Yes. صح. صح. With a lot of additional features. And note, I don't think it was designed for cloud sharing of resources with the others. It was not meant to also organize your references with tags, notes, and so on and so forth. So it had very limited features, actually. صح. For the bibliography, yes, yes. And EndNote, if I'm not wrong, it was designed to work with Word mainly, لأنه ما كان في هيك alternative. While traditionally when using LaTeX, it's another text editor. It was so often used in research instead of Word because it had this BibTeX format and built-in engine to manage the bibliography, but that was a little bit cumbersome for novice researcher, for non-expert in LaTeX. Okay, so here we have an alternative, and that will also offer us.
Not yet at this level of development, so the need existed. But now, since Word does all this, so LaTeX خلاص بقى.
Exactly, exactly. هلا please to be also honest with you, and before exercising with it, and even before checking the collaborative space thing, after maybe you first practice with Zotero, I want you to know ahead of time that there is other tools such as Dhakkir. It offers the same set of features almost, okay. But Dhakkir also is highly appreciated by all those who are working in humanities, social sciences, because it allows them to brainstorm also on their ideas. Okay, نحن it's somehow less useful لأنه نحن we need numbers, we need to benchmark to check whether the paper is good or not, the results are promising or not, can we implement it, do we know the language, and so on and so forth. So here just to dream, to create ideas, and they can share these mind maps with their peers and colleagues. And what's nice with Dhakkir is not only the tool, but this very nice table that compares Zotero to Mendeley, yet another tool in this domain. And actually, you can see that Dhakkir is trying to keep up with the pace of changes and advancement in Zotero and Mendeley. Mendeley, it has a big part of it, especially the cloud part, that is not free. Okay, that is paid, and some additional pro features. Zotero is completely free for the moment. Only when you exceed a certain space or storage on the cloud, you have to pay. And Dhakkir is trying to be distinguished with these mind maps and other special features, okay, for specific domains. So, but please feel free later on, if you find any feature that you are not finding in Zotero, to check this table to let us know, and we can eventually migrate later on. Okay. I tried to review this table recently, and I think Zotero is still one of the best choices. Okay. That's it. So, à vous de jouer. So I'm going to share with you one interesting finding that we just discovered with a practical use suggested by Lydia. So she wanted to search on Google Scholar actually, and to add to Zotero a reference for one of these papers. Okay. So it seems there is a right-click save to Zotero. I'm gonna try it in front of you because it didn't work correctly for us. So I'm not sure whether this paper has been added. No, actually, no. But you may notice that since this a set of results page, it's not a single paper, it's a set of results. So the icon of Zotero has changed to a folder icon شيك. So بطلت one single book or one paper. But if you click on it, you will have this interesting Zotero item selector. So you'll have all the entries for all these papers suggested to you. You can select whatever one of them. Why we are doing this? Because if I do right-click open in a new tab, it will show me, especially if it is a PDF, let's say, like some of them are books, some are PDFs. Let me, like, serious games gamification. For instance, do I have a PDF somewhere? So what Lilia wanted is not to just get the URL of the book on Google Books. She wanted like gamification of learning, serious games, whatever thing that may give me a PDF like this one, okay? So she wanted to also pump the PDF, okay? So to really use the full potential of Zotero. So by clicking on this button, she could go and select this single reference and say okay on it. This will start pumping it with the full text part, okay? So now it's still downloading. So once this pop-up here disappears, it means everything is fine. Like now we got the full text, and you will have a regular entry as usual, okay? But here I have the snapshot and the full text, okay? I can double click on it from here, open my PDF, annotate it, search in it, and so on and so forth, okay? So this is the nice thing with this feature. Actually, this worked very fine from the Chrome extension, but it seems from the Firefox extension it's not yet implemented. Please pay attention to this. I think it's normal. I know they are suggesting the extension of Chrome by default, and there is a link, hidden link for the other browsers. So maybe the Chrome extension is the most supported one. Okay. Yes. 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 Ah. In Zotero, not sure whether. From Zotero, just to be able to add metadata on it by yourself. So what I highly recommend, so for instance, I'm gonna do this in front of you for one of the papers that that I have. For instance, maybe like serious games. Let's say this one. I'm gonna actually pick up the title, okay, and go to the internet and look up for it actually. Okay, so yes, if you already did a lot of work outside of Zotero, maybe you need to redo this work just once, okay, but you will have these references parsed automatically for you and ready to be included in whatever paper you are gonna write in the future. So I'm not sure whether I found it well. Absolutely, absolutely. Otherwise, you will have to enter them by hand. Yani, if absolutely, you can also edit them. By the way, like I can click and change the author name. If it was miswritten on the website, I can edit it. The same, the same spirit, you can add it yourself for a certain reference that is manually added. Okay, but if you let Zotero work with a predefined website, known website, it will take care of the rest automatically for you. And honestly, this is not a disadvantage of Zotero, because at that moment we had ourselves to do this and to find the citation manually like this, okay, and then to copy it and paste it in our own format inside our Word document. But it was a manual work. So we used to do this work anyway. Now Zotero is taking care of its automation and to prepare it for whatever format. I just understood something new about, got something new about Zotero actually from a use case given by Lilia once again. So there is another capability actually. So if I have this PDF file, as you did Jihad, you can drag and drop it here, okay? It will remain a simple PDF, okay? As long as you didn't add anything on top of it, like metadata about it. You could do as I showed you, okay, a few minutes ago, to go and to manually look up for the title of the PDF. But you have also a very nice tool. You can do right-click, retrieve metadata. Once you click on it, most probably on your machine, this won't work for the first time. It will ask you to install a certain plugin, additional plugin. You have to wait till the download takes place. And once it is installed, this tool will work automatically, and they will Google the paper by themselves and find the metadata for it. Okay, so it seems they took care of everything you need. Okay, and now like you can refer to it. Yeah. So like even this step of copying pasting the title that we used to do at the it is taking care of it. Okay. This is a nice thing actually, I think, because if some of your students inshallah bukra or your colleagues sent you a PDF offline, like from a an email or through Dropbox or whatever, you can automatically get the metadata about it and see whether, like here مثلا, I can automatically check that the paper that, for instance, مثلا Badr sent me is really from IEEE Explore, so it has a certain weight. Okay, so you can use Zotero in this case not to manage the references, but to check up the metadata about the papers. Who wrote this paper? Who did this? Who did that? And so often it's difficult. You have the title, you have the author names, but you don't have the year within the PDF content. You don't have the journal name. Okay. فهلا I'm just discovering a very nice powerful tool of Zotero. Okay. Do you want to try it first? Well, shall we switch to the collaborative part? On switch? Okay. نسويتش بقى. Okay. So, oui, c'est super. Même la thèse. Oui, parfait. Okay. Parfait. We did a lot of very interesting things, Ghada. I'm gonna brief you within 5 minutes later on. But let's take care about the but okay, let's switch to the collaborative part. Actually, for the collaborative part, it's better to have an account at Zotero. You can create it in a few minutes later on, or maybe after inviting you, you can create your account, register later on. I know I can send you an invitation via email. Even if you don't have an account, you will click on it. They will ask you to create that account. So I'm gonna log in since I already have one. And I will see a certain space for me that is available online. You will see that by default it's for free, but I have this button here that, as on Dropbox or other services, that remind me to upgrade my storage. Okay, so because if in your library you are also pumping the PDF files, these PDF files will increase the total use space on the cloud. Over time you will end up with maybe 1 gigabyte of files. So I'm not sure what is the quota. I'm gonna verify it in a few minutes, but I can go to this menu. I can go to my profile, see my profile, what I have so far on it, and most probably I can check all my libraries from this part here. So I have one follower, one student. I have two groups. The Segasa group, like I'm gonna change it to Let's Sega, and then certain student worked, like it's better. We worked with better during. So I have to create an account, and then I can create groups here. So I'm gonna click on this group, and I will see that I have two members, like Bilal Saeed and Badr Sirhan currently, but I hope to have all of you listed also here by the end of this session. In the group settings, like I can add the group name, add a description. So I think for students admission at that time, I thought the title would be convenient, but I'm gonna change it right now. So you can add a discipline, you can choose an icon, and so on and so forth. And I think for the ownership, like I can pick up one responsible to be the owner of the project, and I can add the member settings, and here I can make some invitations. So I think already I invited Fatima, Lilia Shneti, and Ghada, and I shall invite you as soon as possible hala, during the session. Okay, after I stop the registration. So let's try to play with it, me and you, Badr, since you have internet connection. Um, so I'm gonna try to drag and drop one of these references. For instance, maybe like this one. Okay, up, and I'm gonna drop it here in this icon. So maybe I'm doing my own readings. At a certain moment, I would see that this is something convenient to expose to everyone. It's really a nice paper, so I can drag it and drop it here. Okay, and it will be shared with the others. Okay, Hala, if I go to the library, it was empty a few minutes ago, so I'm gonna check up the library now. I think we should be able to see the items here. I don't know if it is just taking time. Voila. So now we have it. It has been added by this guy here, and so on and so forth. Do you have it better now on your local Zotero? Perfect. Can you drag and drop something? Exactly. Yeah, just to play with it for the moment. And of course, what we did here in the library, I mean the collection thing and the tree of يعني, relevance of the papers and so on and so forth. You can reproduce it here. So I can create a new collection and say maybe like I don't want to use the countries' names, but no, maybe rather field like assessment related papers. Okay, sorry, assessment papers. We can have other like sub collection for everything related to platforms and the frameworks. I don't want to create everything right now. Okay, I would love to have your input actually and the frameworks. Okay, but just to check up very quickly. Can you drop it in one specific folder, something in assessment, for example? You already put Angry Birds thing. Okay, so I would say like have you changed the folder ولا not yet؟ حطيتيه على الروت مش هيك؟ Okay, it's fine. I'm gonna suggest لأنه Badr didn't know that Angry Birds is rather related to the platform and the framework, so I can drag it and drop it here. Okay, from my local Zotero. Yes, and then it will be automatically synchronized on the Zotero account online on one hand, and in all your computers by the end of the day. Okay, so here we have the added items, and I think after my reorganization, we should also see some folder somewhere. Okay, I'm gonna edit the name. It's a Let's Sega. It should be. Mhm. Yes, yes. So we'll all have this icon here, a group library, and all the libraries. So you can have your own, like it's my library. You can have for your own research, for your own ideas, papers, and so on. Whenever you find something suitable, you can check, drag, and drop to share with the others. Okay, so this will create like for on one hand 2 levels of filtering, and on the other hand a very powerful tool to share with the others all the papers. Okay. And of course, like while still in my Word file, if I want to refer to the Angry Bird thing, so according to, and I'm gonna try to mention the paper of Badr, Angry Bird, sorry. So I have it. Okay, so a few minutes ago I didn't have such a reference on my laptop, and now I have it, so I can add it automatically. It's good. Lors de l'installation, during the installation of the Windows exe, it installs it by default. If you missed this step, it's not a big deal. You can go to Tools Preferences, and in the in the site tab here of the preferences, you have reinstall Microsoft Word add-in. The first time it will be installed, and you can also install it for LibreOffice if you already have it. My dear. Yeah, we should share something. Yes. So you can search for your email, Lilia, because I already invited you once. Uh, something. Je sais pas. member settings. Mm.
عشان كده بقى انا
بينوا عندك على الويب سايت بس locally بعد ما بينوا. Are you logged in actually? I'm still recording, so perfect. Badr is asking why she is able to see the folders and the structure on the website but not on her local Zotero version. I think because inside Zotero Badr there is a sync tab here where you need to type also your username and login. Okay, otherwise you won't be able to synchronize with that specific account. Okay, it's written. I'm not sure if there is a button to say try it out or whatever. And by the way, also you have inside here, inside the browser extension, if you right click on the extension, you have options here, and you also have options for managing the Zotero extension. For instance, you can actually authorize Zotero connector to save items to zotero.org, not only locally. So okay, so because online, let me go to my account here. So if I go to my home page, actually I can see on my profile, I should see all the papers, actually all the يعني the whole library that I have. Okay, like everything I have: fiber optics, AI, serious games. Okay, so you see all the papers that I have. I can see them online. I can share them with others. I can also install Zotero on another machine. I will have an exact copy of this whole library. I don't need a USB to transfer anything. Okay, but this requires that from your Zotero, right click on the icon options, and then from this menu here to click on the authorize button to allow Zotero connector to get access to your account. Okay, and the extension to get access to your account with your credentials. Okay, so that when you save to the local version to also upload it dynamically online. So I'm not sure whether also this part. Yeah, it worked very very nice. Yani, you mean from here? Which part here? Home button, a sync button. I don't have it here, but maybe it appears on the groups. I'm not sure. لا كمان لا. Right click export كمان مش موجودة. Let me check whether I have it somewhere else. In the preferences, the sync. Maybe because I'm not sure. Because maybe because I already have this checkbox ticked for me, sync automatically. So maybe if I remove it, I will have to click manually on the sync button somewhere. Okay, but if from the tools preferences I have the sync automatically button already checked, maybe I don't need, or I won't see the sync button. Okay, I'm not sure. Uh-huh. Perfect. Yes. صح. Yes, yes, yes. With everyone else. So now, if you'd like, I will just pause the registration, and then I will invite you with your email addresses to this shared space. I will change its title, and then I will invite you. Is it fine? You can come to my